You clicked on this video because you wanted a tier list, so I'm not going to waste any of your time. First on the list is going to be the DMR. Now I'm going to put the DMR in D tier, primarily because it's got really weird weapon spread for a DMR. It doesn't have a lot of range. You kind of got to be standing still for it to be good. The damage requires headshots. It's just not great. It has no usefulness in PVE. It's just not very great. The auto pistol is next up on the list, and unfortunately is probably going to be a C tier. Now, I would make the auto pistol a D tier, but the auto pistol has a really short reload time, so it kind of makes up for its low damage output by being able to reload and then immediately unload another clip, as well as it has a really small hipfire spread. So it can be really effective at close range, but that's about it. Bad damage, fall off, bad damage, period. It's going to be a C tier. The assault rifle, I'm going to put on S tier because it is probably the best gun in the game right now. It has a really high fire rate, which it doesn't match, but it compares up with the auto pistol and the SMG. It has a small hipfire range, so you can hipfire it at close range and quickly beam people down, as well as it is also a medium range gun, so you can easily shoot people down from 50 meters plus across an entire room. This is definitely one of the best guns in the game right now. Next on the list is going to be the suppressed pistol, and I'm going to put it in the B tier. It recently got a nerf. It could get buffed. It used to be really good. Right now, it doesn't quite deal enough damage for it to be A or S tier. The damage is a little low, and it usually requires a reload. Until you start getting up into the Lego and the EXO rarity, the suppressed pistol is not usually the best option in terms of time to kill. And it doesn't have any usefulness for AI. It's got a small mag. It's going to be in B tier. We're going to the pistol. The pistol is going to be an A tier weapon. It is not better because it lacks range. It is probably one of the best guns to run individually without anything else, just as a solo drop-in run, a quick run, a warm-up run. It does everything well. It can shred at close range. Its biggest fall off is that it's really hard to start connecting shot at range reliably, and usually an LMG or an AR, and even sometimes a DMR can outdo it, even at like 30 meters. So it's not quite good enough to be S, but it's definitely A tier because it's very strong. The LMG is also going to be A tier. It would be S tier, but again, it has a few drawbacks. It doesn't quite fire fast enough, although it has a big mag and you can continue dumping. It is a fantastic gun in group play or squad play. It kind of lacks up in damage over time or DPS because it just doesn't quite shoot fast enough. So 9 times out of 10 up close, a pistol, an SMG, definitely an assault rifle are going to out damage it. So it's good, but it's not good enough. Next on the list is going to be the snipers. Snipers in this game they're pretty bad. This one is definitely a tentative in between the B and the C tier because snipers don't even one-shot until you get into the EXO rarity. So they're just like, they're good, kind of, but they're not good up close because you're going to get shredded too quickly. So by the time you tag them, if they have medic 4, they're going to heal up. And snipers are just, they have very minimal use right now. I wish they were better. I wish they were stronger. They're just not that great. If you have a good sidearm or a shotgun backup, you can make it work. But it's really kind of a C tier gun right now as they're not too great. SMG recently got a nerf, and it would be an A tier gun, but I am tempted to put it down in the B tier simply because it lacks range in a big way. Once you hit that 30-meter point, you're not even gonna break someone's shields if you hit him with an entire clip of this gun, even with some headshots in there. It just really falls off at that mid-range, and so it's super effective at close range. It's super effective at kind of a mid to close range, like a 15-meter area, but the second you breach that 20-meter, 30-meter area, you just lose all your damage. So for that reason, it's going to fall in the B tier. The hand cannon recently found itself on a nerf, and again, until you get into the EXO rarity, you don't really start getting into the triple and the quadruple head taps. It just does not put out enough damage anymore, and it requires you to hit headshots, which is painfully hard to do against players who are good at strafing or using abilities or any type of movement. The hand cannon can very quickly fall off and become very difficult to hit shots with. So for that reason, it is kind of a skill gap gun. I know people are probably going to get upset with me putting it in B tier, but if you're good with it, obviously it's an S tier gun for you. But for the majority of the player base, I'd say probably stick away from using the hand cannon until you're pretty confident you can put some shots at range. Now, oh boy, the double barrel. The double barrel is going to get nerfed, most definitely. So I'm not going to put it in the S tier for that very reason. But right now it is broken, and there's a bugged reload that allows you to basically pop one bullet in the chamber and then instantly shoot again, which makes it rapid fire, and it is broken for that reason. Outside of that, it can reliably two-tap at a very close range. Outside of that, you're going to have to hit them 3 or 4 times. It's very good. You can use jiggle peeks and peek out of your bubble to abuse it. But I definitely see a nerf coming, so instead of putting it in S tier, I am going to put it in the A tier, because, I mean, if they don't nerf that, the game's probably going to die. It's very strong. So there's our kinetic weapons, and now we are going to move on to energy. Now, on the energy side, we have the pulse pistol first. Now, the pulse pistol, I am going to put in S tier. And the reason I say that is because the pulse pistol is most likely, in my opinion, I would say it is reliably the most effective energy weapon because it does the most damage to PvE. It can reload quick, it has a big clip, and up close you can absolutely shred players. The bullet travel time is slow, but up close you can lead it, and you can absolutely shred players. It does the same, if not more, damage in the same rarity of a normal pistol, so that kind of gives you a comparison. You're looking at 48, even into 52 range on some high blue and purple rolls. That's a lot of damage, and you're going to hurt people quick, and you're going to kill them. As well as AI, it does even more. So this thing is just amazing. It is another gun that you can bring in a solo raid by itself, and as long as you have some good movement ability, some good tech, you can find yourself destroying lobbies with nothing more than a pulse pistol. So that's going to definitely be up on the S tier. Next on the list is the minigun. Now, I know this one is going to get me a lot of hate, but the minigun for me is going to go in D tier. And here is why. The minigun has way too long of a charge time and it has way too big of a spread. Right now, it has no range, and when enemies are close enough to you that you can actually reliably hit them with the spread, they're also close enough that they can hit you while you're under slow movement speed from charging up your minigun, and oftentimes you take damage unnecessarily as well as you can't get away. It's just kind of mid. When it works good. It's great for the elites, but overall, it's one of those guns that you'll use it if you don't have anything else, but it's probably not your first pick. I'm going to put it in D tier. I hope you can live with me for doing that. Next on the list is going to be the pulse rifle. I'd love to put it in S tier, but I'm going to put the pulse rifle in A tier simply because it lacks damage. It shoots very fast, and it has a pretty decent clip. It is an energy weapon, so there's still bullet travel time, but again, just like the pulse pistol, in close range engagements and solo fights and in solo matches, you can reliably use a corner or a good angle to destroy somebody with this gun. I've done it numerous times, but it just doesn't quite have enough damage, as well as the fact that it is an energy weapon for it to be reliably in S tier. And since we already have an S tier kinetic and energy, I don't think I'm going to put it up there for that reason. The crossbow is gonna be F tier. No, I'm gonna make it D tier, and here's why. Because the crossbow, when it hits, and it hits hard. If you can hit a headshot with this thing, you're probably gonna half HP somebody. But it's very difficult to hit, especially against a player who knows what they're doing or has bubble, teleport, stealth, phase shift, literally anything. And it's very easy to counter this, especially once you get a little bit of range. If you're too close, they're going to shred you with an SMG. It's so much fun to use, and when it works, it's great. But with a very small mag capacity, with it still taking 2 to 3 shots, and even upwards of like 8 on the elites, it's not even really good for PvE, and it's definitely not that good for PvP, except for a good, fun little, goof run. It's going to sit in D tier. Next up is going to be the pulse shotgun. Now, the pulse shotgun is going to go in B tier for me. And this is probably another one people are not going to like, but here is my explanation for the pulse shotgun. First of all, it does terrible damage to elite and red mobs. The wall mobs, the big mobs, the EMP mobs, the spawnable mobs. It just does atrocious damage. It does not do anything, and it takes sometimes 3 clips just to kill one elite or one heavy mob. It is terrible against the majority of PvE. As well as PvP, it has no range. It's good when they're close, but again, with it not being so great against PvE, which is weird with it being an energy weapon, and with it not having good enough range in PvP, not even enough range as the double barrel, I'm going to put it in B tier. Next up is going to be the EMP Rifle. The EMP Rifle is going to be C tier for me, again, with the other sniper. The EMP Rifle does minuscule player damage when it's fully charged and you hit a headshot. It does have a 2 headshot multiplier, so it does deal a considerable amount on a full charge, but it takes a lot of time. The charge is weird. It only has 3 bullets in the clip. It's good if you hit the headshot, but again, just like the sniper, meh. It's good against PvE. You can one-shot most mobs. You can 2 to 3 shot the big mobs, sometimes 5 to 6 shot elites. Once you get the higher rarity ones, you can start one-shotting almost every mob, so it's very good for that reason. Next on the list is going to be the Spin Fuser. Now, the Spin Fuser is going to be the only F tier gun in the game. And my reason for putting it down in F tier is because right now, the only thing that the Spin Fuser is good for is poking damage against enemy teams. In solo play, it's not really going to do you any good because players usually full push or rat. So it's just not going to do you any good. It doesn't have any good DPS. But in group play, you can use it to shoot around corners, tight edges, and you can try to poke and get some AoE damage off. When it comes to PvE, again, it's atrocious. It can one-shot the small mobs, but it can't do much more. It has a 3 mag size. It's just right now, it's just a terrible gun that has one use and one use only. And right now, you can just use nades to outdo the usefulness of the Spin Fuser. So, all right, that'll wrap up the tier list. Hope the video was helpful. Check out the Twitch, and as always, I'll see you next time.